Hello garden friends, and welcome to my channel, DK's Garden Oasis. I'm Debbie. I garden in Zone 6A, southwest suburbs of Chicago. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my most watched videos, and that's black swallowtails. It seems like there's not a lot of information out there, and I am not an expert, but I've been doing it for close to 10 years now, and through the years I have tried new things and changed some things out, so it seems to be working for me. For me personally, black swallowtails are easier to raise than monarchs. With monarchs you need milkweed, and I can't bring those really in the house. So of course I have to cut the milkweed and bring it inside, and I've noticed the last few seasons that when neighbors spray their lawns, I do not have success raising the monarchs. They have all perished. Earlier this season I was doing great, but that's because they were on vacation and they weren't spraying. So unfortunately I'm going to have to try to figure out where I can put some milkweed where they don't get the toxins. So again, I'm going to talk about this more in the monarch video in a couple of weeks, but it's not so much the spray gets on the leaf, because I can wash and it won't matter. It's absorbing the tissues of the milkweed, and then once that caterpillar eats the milkweed, it will ingest it and be poisoned. I've had a few things happen to them. Mostly what happens is they don't get past a certain stage, like stage 2. They just don't seem to be thriving, or they just die. This year I had 3 that just take a bite and then it would stay still for days, and then take another bite, stay still for days, and it never got bigger. So I just put those back outside in nature, and hopefully they made it. Again, those were eating for at least 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, and normally it's 10 days to 2 weeks, and they are in their chrysalis. And this was over 3 weeks, and they were pretty small. They were, I wouldn't say tiny, but they were mid-size, and they just stopped growing. So again, I'll talk about that in the next video. Today we're here to talk about black swallowtails. And that's why I'm saying they're easier for me to grow. I have a veggie pod, and in the past I would just put dill and fennel, and the caterpillars would make their chrysalis in there, and then the ones that didn't emerge in late summer, I would put those in my mesh enclosure, hang them in my garage, and they would emerge the next spring. Some of them would disappear because it's not a tight the bottom, they can kind of escape, so that's fine because you need a couple out in nature. But this year I thought I'd bring in some and to do a video, and I have more than you could imagine. I have more still in the veggie pot that I'm going to leave, but right now I'm trying to think if I have maybe 20 to 30 right now in the house, so that is enough. I'm running out of food. Thank goodness I had parsley, because my dill and fennel are pretty much gone except for a little bit in the veggie pod, and those caterpillars in there right now are eating that. So next year I'm going to be doing, alongside my garage, I'm going to be doing all black swallowtail host plants. So dill, fennel, parsley, maybe some carrot tops. And I have noticed this year was my first year trying the parsley, because I ran out of dill and fennel, that the parsley holds up really well, a lot better than the dill and fennel. The dill and fennel seem to like flop over after a while. So again, I'll be still growing it because they do like that, and they lay their eggs on it, which is good. But then I think I'll be moving to carrot tops and parsley for the food if I bring them inside the house. So we'll see next year when I do that. I have had a few videos in the past, and again, those are my very popular videos on black swallowtails. I have raising and overwintering, and I'm going to link them below this video if you want to check those out as well. This video will have some repetition, but I thought I would make a new video and maybe add some new things that I've discovered over the years and show you again how I overwinter them. The beginning of the season I had, I think it was the end of June, I had 2 in the veggie pod, and I left the cover off and they were eaten by probably a wasp because I never saw them again. So I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to bring them inside. And since then is when I've said I've raised probably close to 30 right now indoors. And they're very easy. They just make a mess. You do have to clean their enclosure. I clean them twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. Replace the food, change out the little tubes that I have for their food, and you're going to see that in my enclosure in a few minutes. And as far as overwinter, so in late August they will overwinter, and if they do escape, don't worry, they find a safe place to camouflage themselves, and I'll show you. Most of mine have turned a brownish color because I put it on the cardboard. I'm not sure if I have any green ones right now. I will have to look when we open up the ones that I have overwinter. One did emerge. I put her, it was a female. I put her in the toilet paper tube and she emerged. I put her in it on August 13th and she emerged on the 25th. So again, I just keep them in the house until I would say we get our first freeze, because I know then that they're pretty much overwintering at that point. And that's when I hang them in my unheated garage. Make sure it's unheated. Don't keep them in your house, because if they emerge, there's nothing for them to eat at this point. So you don't want to do that, even if it's a crawl space. I've had people ask me about a crawl space. The only other place I would think of could put them is in an all seasons room off your house that's unheated. That would be fine. And I do hang them in the garage because we do have mice that, you know, are crawling around in there, and if I had it on the ground, I'm sure they would chew through the enclosure. So I just hang it, had no problems after that. And in the spring, in May, like the 1st of May, depending on how warm, because one year I did have them emerge in my garage because it got pretty warm in May. So starting in May, I bring the enclosure back inside. I spritz them a little bit, and they start emerging. Again, you do not, I've had this question, do I need to spritz them in the winter? No, you don't. You don't want any disease caused from water being on there, because it's going to be freezing temperatures. You don't need to do anything. In nature, I know they might get wet, but I've had none of my overwintering have problems. Every one of them has survived, and I did have one that did not emerge the first spring, so it was a year. I had it merged almost 2 years later, and it was a female, and it was during the pandemic. Go figure. So again, they can take up to 2 years being in their chrysalis, and I have some right now. I don't know if they're that. I had one yesterday that finally is in the toilet paper roll, and I'll see if he's not in his chrysalis yet, but he or she. It is a big caterpillar, bigger than I'm used to seeing. So I'm sure that one is going to be overwintering, storing all that food, and who knows, that could take it 2 years before that one emerges. So far I think I counted 14 that I hung in my enclosure, and I think I have another 15 to go, so that's about 30. So now I'm going to be showing you some tips to raising them, the host plants and the nectar plants for the black swallowtails, and then I will be adding some videos along the way of me just at different points raising them. And I will also show you today, I will be showing you some examples of different kinds of ways to overwinter. Look at these guys chowing down. I mean, I have all fresh parsley in here, and by the morning, these are all down to stalks. And this is why. They just go to town. And this one looks like it's a day or two out from going in its chrysalis as well. I have 4 that are in their little rolls. They're these 2 are not quite into, they haven't gotten in their silk pad and their little harness. These 2 are, so these probably will be done today, and these 2 will probably be done tomorrow. These 2 should be going wandering around and purging today, I would think. Then we've got 3 in here that are still little, and these are my medium guys, medium to large. Like this one is pretty large, but not as big as this guy. This guy is really big. So we have our small, medium, and large, and then our chrysalises down here. So I do have at least 4 or 6 in my veggie pod that I'm going to keep in there and just let them eat the fennel. And if they wander out of the veggie pod, that's fine. Let them be out in nature. We need some that hatch outside. So otherwise, I'm going to have so many, at least, let's see. Well, I had 6 and 3 is 9. And then I had another 7, so that's 16, and I think I have 16 possibly in a mesh enclosure, at least. So I have over 30. I think that's enough for me to overwinter, and then the rest I will leave in the veggie pod. Now, if they do adhere to the sides of the veggie pod mesh, I will bring them in, but I'm just going to leave them outside, let them experience the weather. We're getting some cool weather finally here at 70s, which is extremely cool after we've had 90s for weeks. So yeah, once they if they do make a chrysalis, I'll bring them in and put them in a little chrysalis pillow. And then if they do disappear and wander off, because they do have a couple, you know, the bottom of the veggie pod is not really tight, so sometimes they squeeze out, and that's fine. They'll go find a place to hide and come out in the spring. And again, this guy is, if you want to see them eating, this guy is eating up his parsley too. And this is just flat leaf parsley. Next year, what I'm going to be doing is really focusing on making sure there's enough food for these guys. So I'm going to be on the side of my garage. I have planting areas, and I've done strawberries, I've done vegetables. This year I have some herbs and some flowers and some ornamental kale and some peppers. So next year I'm going to be doing each one a like one will be dill, one will be fennel, one will be parsley, and maybe, actually 2 might be dill because that's their favorite. But I'm going to be honest with you. Since I've been doing the parsley and I have seen that they really like it, I may be doing a lot more parsley, only because it holds up really well. Whereas I don't know if you guys have noticed when you put the fennel and dill in these little containers, they kind of wilt pretty quickly. So I will have the dill so they can lay eggs on, but maybe I'm going to do maybe 2 spots of parsley because, like I said, they're going to town on this, and this was really easy to grow, and it's a lot sturdier than the dill and fennel. So that's what I'm going to be doing for next year. And stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a video tomorrow and talk a little bit more. So like I said, I do have some going in their chrysalis now. I have 1 up at the top. I have another 2 here, and 1 that I put in a toilet paper roll. He's coming out right now. And you could tell they're going to go in a chrysalis because 3 have perched. Like I said, it's kind of gross, but that's how you know. So what you're going to do, he's going to escape, which is fine. I'm going to put I'm going to put this paper towel on the top, and then I'm going to put a rubber band around it so he doesn't escape out the bottom. And sometimes they make their chrysalis on this paper towel. So then I'm going to scoop them up. You might not want to go in there. I scoop them up. And I put him in the toilet paper roll. You can handle them. They're very, not like monarchs where you really shouldn't really touch them too much, but they're very sturdy caterpillars. So I'm pushing them down in there, and then I'm going to put some food in. Oops. And like I said, you got to be quick about it because they do try to come out the top like you saw at the beginning. So I'm just putting in some food because he may not be done, but since he purged, he probably is, he or she. So I put a little bit of food in, and tomorrow morning I'll check and see if he's started to go in a chrysalis or if I need to put more food in. So all I'm going to do right now is I am going to put this behind here because I don't want to disturb him till tomorrow morning to check what he's doing in there. So I'm just going to leave him right there, and hopefully it won't tip over, but if it does, he's in this enclosure. So this one right here is still moving, so he's looking for a spot to make his chrysalis, and I have an escapee somewhere in here that I have to check where he went. So I'm going to clean up the enclosure, and I'll be back tomorrow to show you what the status is. So I was looking for the other one. I have the one in the toilet paper roll. I have this guy that's wandering around, and I couldn't find the other one. Guess where he is? He's on the bottom. I don't know if you could see him. Of the other, he's right underneath making his chrysalis. So when he's done, I am going to take him off of there, and I'll show you that, and put him in a flower pillow. That's what I call it, or a little pillow for him or her. So I will show you that as well. But for right now, we have one again. Where did he go? Oh, he's wandering around. But they're fast, so I need to close this up before he tries to escape again. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple things. A couple of them have went in. The black swallowtails have went into their chrysalis, as I said yesterday's video. I thought that they were. So the things that you'll need, and I'll show you a couple of different ways you can put these black swallowtails in a secure place. You can, of course, let them go in a chrysalis in your enclosures. You know, usually in my veggie pod, that's what I do. Currently, there are none that are going in a chrysalis in the veggie pod, but I did find 6 more eggs, so I probably will be leaving those in there to go in their chrysalis, and I'll show you that when they do that. They are, I think I saw one hatching, and maybe I have like at least 5 more eggs. So what you're going to need if you're bringing them indoors, and again, this is August 12th, so I am pretty sure they're going to overwinter, but they could emerge in a couple weeks as well. So I'm going to put them in the enclosure, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then when it gets close to October, that's when I put them in the garage, in an unheated garage. So what you'll need is some safety pins. You'll need either a paper towel or a toilet roll paper. You will need some paper towels and some rubber bands. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I showed you yesterday that one was in a making its chrysalis underneath where I have all of my, this is where I stand it up and put my food in, and I'll show you that in a second, but happened to be sneaky and went underneath. And do you see how it is trying to camouflage the color of the bottom? It's a blackish color, so it is brown and black, and you can barely tell if you weren't looking where it is. So I am going to gently, can see where the little string is, and what they do is they attach themselves at the end, and then there's a little string under its belly that they make a saddle. This won't hurt them, but before I do that, you need your paper towel. So I'm just gonna break off a piece. And again, I've done videos before on this, but I'm gonna show you again how I do it for people that are new. So what I do is I fold it, and then I will be stapling the two sides. So I take the paper towel and then I staple. But I will do that after I get him in here, and then I put him in his little pillow in here, and then I take the safety pin and pin it to the enclosure. And they've always been safe. They emerge. They have no problem emerging in the spring. And then I put the date that it went into its chrysalis. So let me cut that guy on the bottom of this gently. These guys are very hardy, much more hardy than my monarchs. So I'm gonna try to do this so that you can possibly see what I'm doing. I see it's right here, the string, when he's moving, because I'm disturbing him. See another string right here, and then he probably is attached right at the bottom here. So I'm going to gently, did you see him moving there? Yeah, because he just probably went in his chrysalis today. So I'm going to take him gently off the bottom of this. See, I just picked him off. Believe me, I'm not going to bother you too much after this. So I'm just grabbing him. He was wiggling a little bit, but that's what he looks like. Move that out of the way. Hope you saw that. And then here is that flower. Here is, I'm sorry, the pillow for him. So I'm going to gently put him in there, and then I'm going to I'm going to staple. Oh, he's moving around. He doesn't like to be disturbed, but I will leave him alone in a minute. So I'm going to just staple these four sides, and then I'm going to pin him to the enclosure, which you'll see in a second. So let me put this on pause, and then I will show you the next thing. So here he is. I put him in the little pillow, and I stapled the sides and the bottom, and then he's secure in there, and then I will pin him to the enclosure that you'll see in a minute. So the reason I did this is because he was attached to this flower holder that I put their dill and fennel, the tubes, and I wanted to remove him from there and not leave him there because he could be there all winter, and I didn't want to do that. And I'm telling you, these guys are very, very resilient. So I'm going to go pin him up in a minute, but I wanted to show you the next one. The next one went into its chrysalis yesterday, and you can see it's a little more like a light green, and I put him in this toilet roll. So all I did was have a paper towel, put a rubber band around it. He did purge, as I showed you in the previous video. So once they purge, you know they're going to start wandering around and looking for a place to make their chrysalis. So what I'm going to do with this one now is I'm going to, now that he is in his chrysalis, I am going to, you can see him right there. I'm going to cut it. it all the way through so you can see what it looks like. And then I'm going to open it up. I'm going to save half of this because I might need some cardboard for another one. So I'm not sure. You can. Oh yeah, maybe you can see. He's attached, and there's a little string that is attached to the cardboard. And then he's also attached at the bottom. So this one, I don't have to put in a pillow. I will just cut it. These aren't really exactly the best scissors to use for this. This is what I use for my fennel and dill, so I need better scissors. Okay, so that one's done, and I'm just going to save this one for another use. And then what I'm going to do is I can use this again for something else. I'm going to put the date of 8/12/25. That's the day it went into its chrysalis. And then I will take a pin, safety pin, and I will attach those to the inside of the enclosure. So let me show you the other two. The other two have started their J. I put them in the toilet rolls. You can see, trying to have you see the best picture here. It's kind of dark, but he is not in his chrysalis, but he's in his like little C, I call it, where they're attached, but they haven't gone in completely in their chrysalis. Probably will be tomorrow. So I'm going to leave them in here until they do that. There's one. Here's the other one that you can see a lot better. You can see, oh, he's moving around. He's not very happy that I'm bothering him, I think. But that's where he's attached. And then he has a little string around the middle of him that's attached to the cardboard. And like I said, I'm kind of moving around, and he's still trying to, well, when they go in, maybe he hasn't made his little sling yet. But yeah, he's probably just went into this J earlier today. So I'm going to leave him alone now. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to put it on pause again. Okay, now we're looking at the enclosure, and you can see this is the first one that I did in the little pillow. He's all attached in the enclosure. This is the one I just did in the toilet roll, and I just cut it and attached it to the enclosure. Excuse me. And then this one was attached to the paper that I had in the bottom of this enclosure. And so I just took a pin and just attached them to the enclosure in here. And then these are the other two that I'm waiting to go into their chrysalis. There are 6 more over here, and they're still pretty little. They probably have at least another week before they go in their chrysalis, and then I probably have another 6 that I'll show you later today what those eggs look like in my veggie pod. So that's the status today, August 12th. We've got 3 in their chrysalis. Not sure if they're going to merge in 2 weeks or overwinter. I've got 2 that are still waiting to go in their chrysalis, and I've got 6 that are still growing. Trying to focus, there we go. There's like 3 right there. There's 6 in all of this dill. So that's it for today. This one is just finishing up its chrysalis. You can still see it moving. I'm pretty sure you can see that. It's wiggling off the end of the caterpillar. Can you see the saddle around it? And there it goes. That's the excess caterpillar body. And now he's just going to rest. Okay, I have one that has emerged. It looks like it went in its chrysalis on 8/13, and it is a female. I'm going to try to get you. They're really active. Once they emerge, they're ready to go. So I'm trying to get you to see. Let's see. Here she comes. It's going to be hard to see, but she has mostly blue on her wings. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. Mostly blue. They're not, they're male. They mostly have yellow. So it's coming up to the top here. And I'm going to let her go right now. Because I'm going to be gone for the day. So I'm going to let her go right now. And in my veggie pod, I have many eggs. So I've been bringing them in, but now I'm going to leave them on the veggie pod because I don't have a lot of food left. So they need to wander around. I have Queen Anne lace they can eat. So I'm going to leave those eggs in the veggie pod. And I'm going to go show you what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to let her go. You can't see her yet. I'm trying to open up the enclosure and let her out. Okay, you're free to go. There she is. One last look, female. She's going to go to the top, hopefully. And again, she emerged, or she went in her chrysalis on 8/13. So some of these will be overwintering, but this one decided to not overwinter. Okay, you're free to go. There she goes. Okay, so that's that. And I wanted to show you the eggs. So this is what's left in my veggie pod. Not very much fennel left. I do have a little bit of dill in some containers, but do you see? It's kind of hard to see, but there's one egg. And I have sorry, it's a little windy. But I have a few more. Oh, here's one. Right there. So I have quite a few. I think I counted 4 or 5 on this fennel. And then over here, I have some more dill. So I haven't even checked to see if there's eggs on that, but that's some more dill for the black swallowtails that I'll probably put in the veggie pod at some point once it gets a little bit taller. I did want to show you how I keep track of things. So I have this butterfly book from all the years that I've been raising them. And I just put the date that they went into their chrysalis. I was putting the egg and everything, but I don't need all that anymore. So first set was a 5, and this is the only one that emerged, a female. And then I have 6 more. 6 more, I need 2 more from that batch. I have 2 that are going to be going into their chrysalis that I showed you. There's 4 more that are still eating, and then the 4 that I showed you that are small. I also have, I'm going to put at the end how many I actually saw in the veggie pod, and that's how I kind of keep track of things. Give this video a like and comment below if this video was informative and helped you raise black swallowtails. Also in the comments below, if you have any questions or any tips if you raise them, it would be helpful to my followers and to myself if there's any tips in you raising black swallowtails. And again, my next video will be raising monarchs and tagging them. I had an event last weekend and I'm just waiting to get some video from that. It was a great event. I only had 5 to tag, or not 5 to tag. I had about 15 to tag, but I only had 5 emerge on that day, and that was fine. Did a little raffle and the kids were so excited, even the adults. It was a great event and the butterflies flew off wonderfully. So hopefully they're on their way right now to Mexico. They're in clusters on their migratory path, and then they make it to Mexico usually by Day of the Dead, around, I think, what is that, November 2nd, I believe, is Day of the Dead, after Halloween. So right now they're loading up on nectar plants, so make sure you have your nectar plants out there, asters, goldenrod, so they can store all that energy to get to Mexico. So again, if you want to see any of those videos or any of my gardening videos, subscribe and hit that notification bell for that video. So I hope everyone has enjoyed their summer. Cool weather has hit the suburbs of Chicago. It feels wonderful, refreshing, and I'm not looking forward to what's after that, but this is like perfect weather to be outside gardening. So thanks for watching and happy gardening. Bye-bye.